Yeah, so before we dip out and head to New Zealand, I reckon we should watch this Robbie Maddison, Bereman Duct Out clip. How did all this shit come about, bro? Because it was insane.
It was funny. We were just talking about that a few minutes ago, that helping Matto out do that aircraft thing and seeing him do Pipe Dream and just all his crazy...
Were you there for Pipe Dream?
No, I was not.
Oh, okay.
I wish, but no. That'd have been a scary one though, man. Watching my friend do that, I couldn't imagine Amy and the kids and all that going on. It's crazy. But anyways, yeah, seeing Matto do all those things, and then obviously finally getting on not finally, just getting on Red Bull and being able to be able to bring your craziest ideas to them and put on a table or put on a piece of paper and try to make them come to life is something that's what Red Bull's all about. You know, they're the results and everything like that comes along with doing what I do in X Games. All that stuff's cool, but they want content. You know, they want to produce cool videos, cool content, cool videos that make you that bring you back. You know, so
shit that gives you wings.
Yeah, so that was always my goal, was to be able to create content and be able to, like, watching Krusty's and all this stuff growing up. That was it. I wanted to go film and ride my dirt bike. You know, I didn't necessarily, of course, at a point I wanted to be a racer and do all that, but this is what I wanted to do. So to be able to start filming my first Red Bull project that I put out, Fundamentals, I put that out right after I got hurt. I started it before I got hurt, and then fortunately it got to finish right when I got back, and then put that thing out right when I got to X Games, which was my first Red Bull project and in the bag basically. And then to follow it up with this Duct Out project that we did was pretty cool, because it was at a point I didn't know if Fundamentals was going to get done, because so much time had went by, and with being in Florida and the timing with weather and stuff like that, I didn't know if I was going to be able to get it done. So basically, to bag 2 Red Bull videos before the end of my first 2-year contract was all time for me. It was something that was my goal, to do one big video a year, if not more. So unfortunately I had to cram them both into 6 months, but that's how she went. But anyways, so this whole video started as me and Matto were driving to I think we were going to Red Bull. We were going somewhere, and we were, of course, late, sitting there, and we were like looking at all these aqueducts and stuff like that, and we were just like, oh, like, how sick would it be to, like, being stuck in traffic, just like rip out of here, you know, and rip aqueducts. And then it just turned into, like, Matto had the idea, like, oh, like, we could just duct out, and it was just like bingo, like, perfect, you know. And then we kind of had, like, you know, these ideas that we wanted to do and stuff like that, but it honestly was more of mine and Matto's kind of, like, idea. And then we wanted to, like, I think we had talked to Steve about it a bit, but I went to Washougal, and it was, I don't even remember when it was right before, I can't remember. I think it was in May of 2 years ago. Anyways, whatever. I met with Cam and Clay from Metis Creative. I was at Washougal doing a Honda commercial up there. Yeah. And we were I was in the back seat, and we were on our way to go get some beers after it was all done. And I was flying out the next day, and I was just shooting the shit with them in the back seat, talking about video and film and content ideas. And mind you, like, a couple of Clay Porter's videos that he's released in his DVDs of, like, amazing. Yeah. I love watching his mountain bike films. Yeah, he crushes his films. So just shooting the shit with these guys, and then it ended up talking about, like, me and Matto were talking about doing this, like, kind of like urban part and being stuck in traffic and ripping out of traffic, and it potentially, at first, we were kind of trying to go through these aqueducts and go, you know, be in the city and then rip through an aqueduct and all of a sudden pop out of the other side of the aqueduct, and we're in the hills somewhere, and then we pop out the other side here, and, like, go into another one, we pop out one, and we're in different environments. was kind of our original thought. But then just, you know, with some talk with everybody and yeah, we ended up kind of getting on the phone and then basically building a deck together, all three of us, or 4 of us, 5 of us, all together on a conference call, and built a crazy deck. And then, yeah, it just slowly came to fruition. I mean, I think when the film dropped on January 22nd last week, or beginning of this week, a couple days ago, it been 20 months, I think, from our first conversation.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Because there's so much like permitting and like
zoning. Oh yeah, there's so many things. So, I mean,
so yeah,
100%. That was the first conversation that we had, and then ended up talking with Steve about it. Had multiple conversations back and forth with Steve, super good ones, and then like 110%. If it was not for Steve, Steve Shearer like crushed this whole thing. Like without his hard work and dedication, there's no way that we would have made this happen. To even endless emails to dealing with location scouts, and having meetings with all these people and pulling permits for all this stuff, and just so much went on behind the scenes. And like, cannot thank Steve enough for being there through the whole process. And there's days that he probably wanted to kill me and Matto and pull his own hair out, and yeah, I mean, the whole thing was just obviously going with the location, getting a location scout for movies that does like big budget films, worked with the location scout that does that stuff. So kind of went around scouting for multiple days, like multiple times scouts, and like multiple scouts. So
you would go on the scout trips?
Me and Matto and Steve with these guys, with a couple of these scout location guys. And
that would have been a pretty cool experience.
Really, really, really cool. But me and Matto, our wheels get to turning, and we're like, oh, how about that? 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 But the logistics that go into all that stuff, to shutting down sidewalks, to shutting down streets, to shutting down
police escorts,
locking it up, police escorts, all these things, like time, money, lot goes into it. Lot goes into it. So, of course, everything me and Matto would see is like, oh, nope, you know, just nope, not happening. And then it finally figured out, you know, a handful of places that would work, and tried to, you know, could take the next step on getting the permits and all that stuff. And you know, most of it was, I wouldn't say easy, because I wasn't the one doing it, but it was smoother than our LA River and Sepulveda Dam part. Yeah. Which is, I'll point them out here when we start this, but to get the keys to the LA River, you got to have a meeting. Like, you got to get approved from the Army Corps of Engineers, and that's no easy task to get a hold of them. Yeah. So finally got a meeting. We had 4 meetings, I think. We went to the dam 3 times, and Steve and them had a 4th meeting, I believe, with these people. Everything was set. Like, we had this place, like, had the permits, like craft services the next day. We had Matt from Trick Factory on call with like the tractor, like everything there, ambulance, like everything you could think of, the whole crew, film crew.
It's like a full movie production.
Full production. Full production. The night before we start to film, 11th hour, and that was our first location of 4 days straight of filming, 2 locations each day. So 8 locations altogether. Yeah. Well, I would say 6 locations, but 2 of those locations were basically a grid all around downtown. Okay. So we would have a police escort, and we would follow the police and get to film all around this grid in basically a big square around downtown. So those were 2 of the days. So it wasn't necessarily a location, but just filming downtown. Yeah. But yeah, it was 2 locations each day. So that was our first location, and that was one of it was one of the features in it that was like what we need, not necessarily needed, but it was one of the better features. What would have been really cool. What we had set out to do there was pretty next level. We were basically we'll show it when I'll pause it, but
well, we should just play that now, full screen it, and then that way, and then just tell Jaden when to like pause it or whatever.
Okay. But yeah, so the 11th hour, the night before, we got a call. We're supposed to be on. That's Sepulveda Dam. If you hit pause real quick. Oh, sorry.
So skip back a bit. Just press like the back arrow key. It just takes you back like a few seconds. So there's
the Sepulveda Dam. So we were basically going to be originally we wanted to drop off the top into the
How
the
far
slope.
would that have been?
Not as big as Matto's drop, I don't think.
Oh, really?
But this was better landing.
Yeah, okay.
But it just Matto's was just the wedge was so tall that I think it made the drop look not as big, but this.
Yeah, I was gonna say if that's bigger than Matto's, like that actually looks bigger than Matto's there.
Yeah. Well, anyways, we were gonna drop
gnarly.
off the top. That they shut that down. So our original plan was to basically rip out of traffic and like we'd be into the river. We jump into the river, into the LA River, and then here we are. We find this thing. We're screwing around on the flats. We nose wheelie up over and disappear out of frame. Come back, and we were going to be simultaneously on each side of one of those pillars, wall riding it over the black piece that you see, and basically coming back in together and ripping out a frame in and out of that location. And it was 11th hour of the night before at 8 p.m. in a production meeting at Red Bull, getting ready to do everything the next morning. Had to be on set at 6. Then we got a call from the guy, one of the guys that we had our very last meeting with, and he said a higher up basically shut everything down north of the dam, which is on that
The other
side.
side, yeah.
So that kind of screwed our chances at doing that, but we made the best. We did everything we could at this location, but basically all we had was the apron on the front, which is the flat part that you see, and a little bit of dirt off to the side. We really couldn't do much, which was definitely a bummer, because if we would have had that and tied it all together,
Just
would have been insane.
Level, yeah.
And not to say that like it wasn't, the video wasn't cool, like amazing video, amazing how it came out, but if we would have been able to have this and what we had set out to do and paid for and permitted, like it would have really tied, like just had the like a couple different really cool features that were bigger features that to add into it, which we didn't get to do that. But end of the day, the video came out insane.
Yeah, it just goes to show how gnarly that whole permit process is. So keep going.
So yeah, this was all
done so well too.
super well. And it was funny, like we did this like doing the traffic.
You guys like didn't get much traffic,
No,
right?
we literally did our traffic scenes on Friday morning. Like these spots that are usually completely gridlocked. And there's like really not that much traffic, so we kind of had to like improvise and create our own traffic a little bit. But
was it cool working with Matto? Because like Matto's acting is good.
No, Matto's acting is insane, and it's just cool like working with him on this level too, of like knowing that I did aircraft with him, and knowing that like his pipe dream, and just knowing our 20 months that went into this. Like I couldn't imagine of all that went into multiple football field jumps and world record jumps and just all that, so just
love that shot, dude.
Just the work ethic and the inspiration that I got from this, like being able to work with Matto on that level and together as friends and yeah, I don't know, it was pretty cool just to see like if there's a will, there's a way. If you have a vision, you can kind of work together and make it happen.
Dude, pause it for a sec. That I remember when we were filming, we got the drone thing was just starting to come in. Like our first drone was one of those crazy like octocopter deals. It was like fucking 40 grand.
Yep, Axum.
Dude. And like that that whole deal, I remember thinking like, where does it go next with the whole drone? I was like, this is it. I remember having that thought, and I remember thinking like, man, you always think this is it. You always think that that's like the top. But I was like, I really can't see where like you can go from here.
Yeah.
And now with those racing drones, like some of those racing drone shots in this are like next level, dude. Like the one where they come down
the buildings. Yeah, it's pretty crazy because.
So go again, Jen. Sorry, bro.
If you see, there's certain like.
Oh yeah, this was a cool feature.
Yeah, one of those angles too, from down below, you can see the building that he actually scaled down with the drone.
Yeah. Dude, it must have been super fun.
Oh, it was so much fun. It was like a dream come true, man.
Was it
like,
surreal?
It was 100% surreal. Like the whole time, being able to like, so right when we started, like we had right when we started our police grid, this the second day, it was just like, what what are we gonna, like, what can we get away with? Like, what can we really do? What can't we do? Like,
right.
And we just started doing wheelies, and they would like, we'd like come to the next stop, and we'd like turn back and like look at the cop and be like, oh, is he gonna be pissed? Is he gonna be pissed? Is he gonna pull us over? No, it was just like, and then you look back and they were cool, and then the next thing you know, we're doing nose wheelies, and next thing you know, I just fucking grab a gear and start doing burnouts, like super close to the Staples Center, and it's like,
dude, this is so perfect.
Yeah, this was cool. This was like, huge fan of Tori Podwell, so to have him be able to, or be willing to lend a hand to make a cameo in our video was awesome. Dude, and that was perfect, like, awkward elevator scene with someone that you don't know. You know?
Yeah, dude, that comment, like, look, yeah, this is that drone shit I'm talking about. It's so gnarly.
So, dude, he had to go scale down the building and time it. We had to time a countdown, and Matto had to go out, and I had to give him a couple bike links so the dude could come scale down the building and fly in between us and go through the arch. Like, it was crazy. There was a couple of times where he flew underneath me so fast he like clipped my skid plate.
Really?
Yeah.
How gnarly is that
so
shit, man?
Crazy.
That's like next level skill.
Because I think they were saying the thing goes like 60 miles an hour or something.
Really?
Yeah.
What was it?
What we were talking about, this thing, like this whole thing, like, was surreal. We were like trying to see what we can get away with, and we're like, oh, we kind of do whatever we want, you know, as long as we're not disrupting traffic. Then we're good. Yeah. So it's like, we're going like with the flow of traffic and all that, and like just having a bridge shut down to be able to do like,
oh, pause it, Jane. Let's talk about this.
So there's
a gnarly story with this.
Yeah, this story. So yeah, like, I mean, just having that bridge, dude, being able to do wheelies, like fifth gear wheelies like that, going that fast, and like having cops right behind you, knowing like that you're not gonna get in trouble, was just so surreal. The craziest thing ever. Like, riding through downtown, like, just, you know, it's literally a dream come true, like straight up dreaming. And like at the end, like, it was all a fucking dream, but it was like what we've dreamed about for years as a kid, driving down the road and only seeing the hills next to you, you know. It's like, it's literally, it was a dream. Like, you've fallen asleep and dreamed about shit like that. And like, so yeah, that was crazy, the whole thing. So then you get to, you know, multiple days, multiple locations. We go underneath like all the overpass parts where we did some of the clips. We had that morning we started there, and then it was crazy because, you know, each day you're basically on a crazy time crunch schedule. You have to start by this time and leave by this time to get to the next location, because it's already permitted and you only have a certain window of time that you have it permitted for. So everything had to be like on point, right? So Matto, we go to this place the first time, and we had a couple, like, it underneath the bridge was crazy slick on top. There's a lot of dust on top of the asphalt. And Matto took like 3 diggers this morning, like on the asphalt, just not hard at all, just like pushing the front end, just a little slide out or whatever, but like had to change some bars and like had to change gear, and it was like,
not to mention you're like 3 days deep into a gnarly shoot.
This is day 4. This is the 4th day, and like, mind you, we do all this stuff. We're on our motorcycles from sun up to sundown with 1 hour break for lunch. Yeah. For 4 days straight. And the last time me and Matto have done that, this is never really. So like, you know, Matt, like doing stunt stuff and being on set all day, yeah, it was one thing, but you're not riding all day, like not in sweaty gear doing wheelies, nose wheelies and shit all day. Mind you, it's not the hardest riding, but you're on the bike for a long time. So we left that place. Matto, luckily, you know, later down a couple of times, but he got his crashes out of the way, got that thing, and at that point, like, when we were here on this Scout and we looked at this part, we went to the LA River and we found this bridge, and we were like, oh, like, you know, we were walking underneath it, and I was like, oh, you can wall ride the wall, you can do this, you can do that. And Matto was like, you know, Matto just being Matto looks up and he's like, I think you can drop off that bridge. And I'm just like first, like, oh, like, you know, well, when you're there and you're standing there, like, it didn't really like look that gnarly. Like, that's totally doable, right? And you get up there and you stand on the bridge and you have the guardrail next to you that's up to your ribs, even a little higher up. It doesn't seem that gnarly when you're like got the guardrail right here. But then when you stand up, and then you look over, but then we left the first location that day, and on the day we show up and the ramp's built. Like, it's really fucking real. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, this is it. This is happening. Like, there's no turning back. One lane of the freeway, or one lane of the bridge is locked down. They've been there for hours setting up this ramp, and it's go time, like absolutely go time. So getting there on the day was way, way, way gnarlier than we remembered. Obviously, standing up at level of the guardrail made it way gnarlier. You have a wedge going up with one bike length to turn and drop off to clear. You see these poles. Yeah. There's a chain link fence with barbed wire at the top of it with like a 5-foot cement wall. You're clearing all this stuff to land on a 45-degree wedge that's way too flat for how big this is, but not flat enough to be like, I don't think it's going to work. Yeah. There was no doubt in our mind that it wasn't going to work. The only thing we were thinking is, are we going to clear that fence? What we should have been thinking is, are we going to land on the fucking flats? But so me and Matto, like, obviously. Because
you were supposed to do this as well, right?
I was supposed to. This was 100%, like, this was Matto's idea, and this was his. Yeah. Like, he saw it, and that's his deal. He's crazy fucking step downer. So yeah, like, we were riding off it, but it helps so much having someone else riding with you, and being able to judge your judgment off of somebody else. And we would ride up that thing, and you can see like there's knobby marks to the left of the wood, and we were going off to the left to see where it would put us in the road, and then we were putting tape on the road to make sure that we were gonna past the wall, because that's what we were thinking, like, past the wall. But if you think about it, your forward momentum at 250-pound motorcycle plus your weight, your weight carried out, you don't have to go nearly as fast as you think.
So you guys were trying to line it up.
We were trying to line it up to clear that
when you needed to be maybe a couple feet before it.
We needed it, but anyway, so we started jumping off the side. I was jumping further than Matto each time, but Matto, obviously has a lot more experience doing drops like that. So he was going to the left, and then, it got to the point, like, okay, like, it's go time, and I had to get myself in the mindset, like, put myself back, like, my mental coach was not there, but put myself with my mental coach, and, like, just shut everything else out. And, like, it was, like, putting myself in the mindset for that was not easy. Like, full, like, safety gear that I had, threw it on, like this is, like, to the point to where Steve and my mechanic Rob and, like, people were, like, after the fact, we're tripping and, like, are you okay? Like, are you pissed off? Like, what's wrong? And it's like, no, like, dudes, I'm not pissed off. I'm so nervous, and I'm so focused on this right now, because, like, this is no joke. Like, this is no fucking joke. Just with the way the whole thing was built, it's like, your margin of error is, like, none.
You don't have one.
You don't have one.
No.
So we were riding off to the side, and mind you, on this shot, I don't know if you went back a little bit, but you can see my bike leaned against the wall right here.
Go back one, but, like, press the back thing. So yeah, go.
See my bike?
Yeah.
If you keep, like, hit play, see my bike sitting there? Yeah. I'm standing, like, another 50 feet down the bridge, because I knew, like, it was like Matto was running up to it, and at this point our time is ticking for our
so you didn't even have time to get
our
your bike
permit.
off the bridge.
No, like, our time is. At that point, I was still hitting it. I was hitting it after him. Like, so I was up there with my helmet. Like, I just left my bike there, like,
because you had to run back and do it. Yeah.
Well, because I had to run back and do it, but I was getting a good view where I was out of the camera. Or out of the other shots, and then being able to get a view of Matto's landing, you know, because I was nervous as all hell for my best friend, dude. Like, that, the mental battle that Matto went through for that, like, it wasn't like he was like, like, freaking out, and, like, it was just, I know that mindset to get to that point. So,
and, like, you were saying too, that he doesn't, like all of his other big step downs,
Yeah.
he's had like heaps of time to prepare,
He's
and they've like
practiced.
built
He's
scaffolding.
built
This was
scaffolding,
just
worked his way up to it. This was
raw dog.
everything about this was raw dog, you know. So he, so yeah, I'm in the mindset like I'm having to hit this thing, and basically we have basically like 30 minutes left on our permit, and in the end of that 30 minutes, everything's got to be off the bridge. Everything got to be off. So we basically, we're waiting, and I'm on comms. I got a microphone in my ear, and so is Matto, and Matto's like riding off to the left, and each time he's like turning his head to the right, like
just gauges,
to gauge where he's at, you know, and then I just hear like Matto just like kind of like stop, and he like gives it a couple revs, and he like, you can tell he's like doing his thing, and then he's like, all right guys, like it's go time, this is it, you know, and it's like everyone's like, you know, we're all on comms, so you got the guy locking up the streets, you got the AD, you got all these people like LAPD, lock it up, like cameras rolling, like blah, you know, all this shit, and it's just so real. My fucking heart's just like, mind you, like Amy and the kids, and like everyone's sitting right below them, like back here to the right.
Wow.
Like, you know, and Amy, like she's been there for all these drops, like being there on that day, knowing like how prepared he was for the other ones gave her ease. This one was just like, you know what I mean? So mind you, I'm on the bridge, so this dude like finally on the time that he does it hits it way slower than we were not like but like he had the speed going up, but noticeably slower to like, you know, and he still OJ'd it. So I know like if I had to hit that thing again, or had to hit it behind him, I would have went long, and I would have blown my wheels out even worse than he did. But so anyways, like he lands, does it, wheelies through the water, gets like, does it clean. It's like obviously not an easy landing, but pulls it clean, wheelies across the water, gets to the other side, both wheels lock up. Like gets to the wedge on the other side, wheels lock up.
Yeah.
Like fully blew his wheels out. So at that point, it's like I'm just up, I'm like kind of hiding behind one of the poles, but I see him land, and then like let him fall on the other side, and then I like pop up, and I'm just like, fuck yeah. I'm like, yeah. I'm at it like, yeah, you know. And then at that point, it's like, okay, like fuck, his bike's stuck on the other side of the river. Like I got on my bike and I rode down to the bottom, and I'm like still I'm in the mindset like, okay, I gotta go do this now. I just watched him do it. I know, like, you know, but at that point I'm like, fuck, this is so scary, because he just blew both of his wheels out. You know what I mean? So we get down to the bottom, and then it's like executive decision, like no one else is jumping off the bridge, which at first, me getting myself in the mindset and my adrenaline pumping as hard as it was, like I'd never been that scared in my fucking life, dude, ever. You know, not even so hitting the fucking 34-foot quarter pipe at Nitro. Like that thing's pretty scary, but that is just a different kind of scary. Like everything about it screams, don't fucking jump me. You know, like concrete wedge, water, fucking needles flowing through that water, probably like
sharks with freaking laser beams.
So yeah, just the whole thing, man, was just so gnarly. But at first I was kind of like, oh, like fuck, like, you know, like I wanted it because I got ready and I got myself, and then it's like, now you're not doing it. And at first I was like, you know, but now that I look back on it, it actually worked perfect, because we split off a couple times in the video, and then how do we get back together, like, you know, end up back together back in the LA River. So we ended up cutting it together really good, where we split off a couple times and got back together, and fucking awesome. Turned out so sick.
Dude, it's crazy too, man. You're playing in like the big boy land with that clip too. Like that was a real budget. That was a legit push by Red Bull. There's going to be a ton of ads that go out with that. Like, you're in front of millions and millions and millions of people on that clip, and it's like, I mean, fuck, just to earn that spot on the Red Bull roster is crazy, dude. Like, you know, the competition that you're dealing with to like get a clip like that with Red Bull,
for sure,
it's gnarly, dude.
Super gnarly. So it's just, this whole thing was literally a dream. Like, it's something like, after this, we finished this drop. both of our mechanic, Robbie Brown from RNC Motorsports, he hopped over the wall. He walked right through that LA River, disgusting water, got to the other side, changed Matto's wheels, and then we had to finish our scenes down in the bottom of the LA River. So basically that last day was our morning part underneath all the overpasses straight to the drop, and then finishing everything in the river. So it was, as soon as that drop was done, it was like a huge weight off of everyone's shoulders, and you know, Matto pulled it and drank a Red Bull and gave himself wings. Yeah, just to finish it off after that, what we were doing, just riding through the river, like down through the river and jumping across the river and wheeling up the banks and down, and then basically riding 2-3 miles down river to get to where you have to exit the river like the whole time we're riding, it got dark as we were riding down there, and then we got to the end, we didn't have our helmets, and we got out, like got to the cops that were waiting for us that had it like at the exit, and we got to follow 2 motorcycle cops on our 450s, no helmets on, through 5 miles all the way back through town, through all these streets with 2 cops in front of us, just doing whatever we want. It was just so fucking surreal at that point. Like, wow. The last 4 days was just a dream, man. Like, it's never in a million years from 20 months ago from this first conversation would I ever have thought that it'd be what we're experiencing right now. You know what I mean? And to do that, like, it's crazy, man. It's just, I cannot thank Red Bull enough for the opportunity, and listening to maniacs like Matto and myself, and believing in us and our vision, and even this, like, Red Bull allowing that, like, just being cool with like that. You know what I mean? Like, being cool with like him just like flying his motorcycle off a bridge, like, and like the risk and the potential of that, like, it
does show like how much they believe in shit.
They believe, yeah. And then, you know, I mean, to think like that's nothing compared to, you know, the drops and the shit that he's done with Red Bull backing it, but still, it's just like,
it's still no joke.
It's still no joke, man.